Hey everyone, this is Dylan, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review for you guys. So today the movie I'm going to be reviewing is Amusement. It came out in 2008 and it was directed by John Simpson. And so our three main characters are played by Catherine Winnick, Laura Breckenridge, and Jessica Lucas. I think particularly this movie intrigued me because this is the second time I've watched it that I'm aware of, and Jessica Lucas has been in quite a few of the scary movies that I've particularly Cloverfield. And so usually if there's an actress or actor that I like in a movie, I'll look up their Wikipedia page and see what else they've been in. So that would have been something that I found off of that. So basically this is an anthology film. So there's 3 segments and then there's a wraparound story. So that ties them all together. So I will give spoilers, I guess, because this is a little hard not to talk about without spoilers. Well, first off, I want to address that people seem to really hate this movie, and I'm not entirely sure why. It does fall apart at one point in the movie, but everything other than that I think is decent enough. So it starts off with the first segment, which is titled Shelby, who is the name of the character in it. And essentially that one is kind of like, well, all of these have a little bit of an urban legendy feel to them. So the first one is Shelby and her boyfriend are driving at night, and her boyfriend is like speeding and stuff, and she's like going in and out of sleep, and she wakes up one time and sees that her boyfriend is speeding again, and she's like, well, what the heck are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm in this convoy, which I wouldn't have ever known the name of this unless it said. But basically it's where you're just in a line of cars on the highway that are just like following each other. So you're all going about the same speed limit or speed, and you're just like weaving in and out of cars to maintain your speed, essentially. So there's only 3 cars in this convoy, and their car is in the middle, and there is a truck driver who, he doesn't have the trailer part of the truck, he just has the truck itself, and then there's another car behind them. So at one point this trailer guy, or the tractor trailer guy, needs to get gas. They stop and realize that and they're like, whoa, what do we do? We've never met anybody that I've been in a convoy with. And so they like introduce each other, and the truck driver's a little kind of like, he's a little weird. And then Shelby realizes that there's somebody in the back of his car, or truck. And the boyfriend's like, no, he's alone. He said he was alone. And so they follow him. Apparently there's some construction or whatever, so they have to take this back route, which I've done that before. We did that. My mom and I drove to South Carolina, and they had an overpass collapse while we were there, and so our GPS rerouted us to some dirt road that goes through a cornfield. It was creepy. I was like, this is how horror movies start. And so don't ever do that in real life. Anyway, they go, then something happens and a bunch of stuff, and one of the people in the convoy is like a killer. So that was probably one of my favorite segments of this. So this next segment is called Tabitha, and she's the main character of this one. And basically it kind of reminds me of When a Stranger Calls. So she is going to her aunt and uncle's house and is supposed to babysit her 2 nephews. They're probably, I don't know, probably like 7 and 10, something like that. And so she is babysitting them, and she has to go she goes to her guest room, and her guest room is filled with clown things. which is creepy as it is. I mean, I don't really have issues with clowns, but I mean, I don't know, some clown stuff is creepy in general. It has that stigma. So she goes and realizes that there's a giant clown, which actually is this clown on the cover, is sitting in a rocking chair, and she doesn't think anything of it. And then in the middle of the night, the clown comes, starts moving and stuff, and she's like, what the heck? And then, but she doesn't really realize it's moving yet, and then she gets a phone call, and it's her aunt, and she's like, that's really, a really creepy clown you have, and she's like, oh, which one? She's like, the life-size one, and the aunt's like, we don't have a life-size clown. And then she realizes that he's real, because she turns, and he's gone. So, that story plays out like that, and then we have the next segment, which is the last fully character-based segment, called Lisa. And Lisa and her friend are out at a bar, or her roommate are out at a bar, and she comes home, but her roommate doesn't. And so basically, she's trying to find her roommate, and she goes to this like weird hotel thing, but they won't let her in. It's like this dilapidated hotel. They were like, all the beds are full. And her boyfriend happens to work for the health department, so she's like, can you get me in? Or can you go in there and see if she's in there? And this one was a little bit one of the more confusing ones. And so they get in, she ends up getting in there, and she finds somebody in this like attic area, and there's a whole bunch of beds, and the guy's like, shh, quiet, and she like lays down on one of the beds, but then realizes that there's something in it, and she like lifts this blanket up, and there's her roommate is like sewn into the mattress, which I think is something that they did in American Horror Story Hotel, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought that was probably one of the coolest visuals in this. And then we have this segment at the end where all of the three characters, Shelby, Tabitha, and Lisa, all like reconnect and figure out why the stuff has been happening to them. And basically, it was kind of a little bit like Valentine the movie, where when they were in grade school, they made fun of this kid, and he had been harboring these feelings, and he was like mentally unstable and stuff. And so he like kidnapped him to try to like torture and kill them. So yeah, it's a little weird. That's by far the weakest part, I think, of this movie. Some of the visuals are really cool, but I think that that's like the weakest part. But let's talk about a couple of the good things about it. Like I said, I think that the first three segments, the Shelby, Tabitha, and Lisa segments, are all they're not like the best of the best things, but I thought that they were all pretty decent and definitely worth watching the movie for. The last one definitely kind of falls off. I think that it's just a little, I don't know, it's just a little too confusing, and you don't really understand anything that's going on until like the very end, where there's a voiceover that tells you what had happened. And so, yeah, I also thought that it had very good production value. A lot of the sets looked pretty cool, and there was some pretty decent special effects segments in there, and, you know, I would recommend you guys watch this. I mean, at least watch it once, and then make your opinion based off of that. I'm not sure you need to watch it again, but, I mean, it's a fun enough movie that you can at least have a somewhat decent time watching it. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. If you've seen Amusement, let me know what you think about it. And remember to subscribe if you want to see more reviews. If you like this video, please give it a like. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Bye.